solar based system calendar. All these auspicious days, and they recommend that we should do dhyana. For example, today is also a very special day. I think it's Ekadashi, some special Ekadashi today. And just few days back, Ratha Saptami. And Ratha Saptami, you see, I am attending that another Veda class, right? And they always arrange on all these special days, special lectures by great people. And they say that, during this time, this sun moves in this direction, and this is what is the impact happening in your body. And during that time, if you do this, you will get this spiritual benefit. Is it all true? Or every day it is the same day?
No, actually every day is same. The only thing is that the planetary influence is definitely going to be there. So what happens, whatever we call a special day, let us say this Ratha Saptami, when the sun comes very near or starts coming near, it means that the mind, which is controlled by moon, okay, where it has the lunar effect, fades away with giving some clarity. So that is the belief. So this is workable for those people who cannot understand the working of the mind. Okay, so for them, the best way to do is to find out auspicious days, because there is definitely auspiciousness of consciousness. So consciousness is auspicious. There is nothing else which is working. Now everything is done by consciousness, but then it is camouflaged by the impressions in the mind. So if anything is done on an auspicious day, let us say you have this Ekadashi, and then the mind requires food. It requires the mental food and physical food. So if one were to stop the mental and physical food for that day, mind doesn't go anywhere. It stays in that object of contemplation. So it is better to do japa followed by tapa and by dhyana. So I need something to contemplate, so I do japa. Then I extensively go deep into it to analyze what it is all about. So I'm doing tapa. And after that, japa and tapa has reached a certain point, and then I'm doing dhyana, meaning to remain in that state for a long time. Dhya is to know, and dhyana is a state of complete knowing. So basically the objective of dhyana is to understand the true nature of things, which is consciousness. So this is the process, and on auspicious days it makes more sense. Let us say even if you have full moon day, it makes more sense because the moon can be controlled, meaning the mind's affinity to moon can be controlled through consciousness. So then everything becomes consciousness, and that helps to see that everything is consciousness. So the person loses that personality view, what he had. So these auspicious days in whatever religion it is called as has some significance, but that alone will not make him to see the consciousness, what is working behind everything. Meaning that again becomes another kind of ritual. Like in some families, including my family, where on Ekadashi day, they don't eat rice and lentil. So it has no meaning whether you eat rice or lentil or not. It doesn't make any difference. What shouldn't be eaten is something which can make you drowsy. So on the 11th day, because there is a lunar influence, generally the mind is on tides. So it is better to make the mind stable. So giving any food which can cause heaviness is not good. So lentil creates heaviness. So better not to eat lentil. And since rice is a substance which has starch, that creates slowness of the mind. So it is better to skip lentil and rice. But if they promote saying that we are so and so, let us say we are Brahmins and we are not supposed to have rice and lentil, and you have to do Ekadashi, you can eat anything you want except for rice and lentil, that makes stupidity to the highest extent, because it's not what you eat, it is what it does to your stomach. So on the 11th day, if we were to stop that process of making it dull, number one. Number two is to stop the mental activity. Any mental activity creates disturbance. So if I'm able to do a japa, that makes tremendous sense, because that burns out all the impurities at once, because there is no other food other than the food which is supposed to be given. Okay. So that is, food is to be given is the japa. The whatever I want to say, let us say it can be Gayatri, or it can be Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or whatever it is. I start with that, and then I stop that utterance and I'll start investigating. So that is tapa. So that burning process will start through tapa. So the knowledge starts to come, and then through that mantra or whatever I'm trying to recite, and then nididhyasana is about dhyana. So if we can understand, and if we don't follow it like a ritual, then these auspicious days makes much sense.
Yeah, clear.
Okay.
Today is a special day. Bhimanama, what is it? Bhimana?
Amavasya. No, today is not Amavasya.
Not Amavasya. No. It's called Bhishma Ekadashi, and today is the birthday of Vishnu Sahasranama Jayanti.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what they say 72,000 that nadis and so many letters in Vishnu Sahasranama makes very auspicious today's Patana because of that Ekadashi.
Okay, good.
Okay, we will go to your continuation of Mandukya Upanishad.
Mandukya.
Yeah, Mandukya. It's a Mandukya, sorry.
This one, the birthday of Vishnu Sahasranama, I said, I had one, meaning this is my logical mind thinking. But see, Ratha Saptami day is the day when Bhishma is gets out of his bodily, the physical form, meaning he deliberated on that day. And it is known that Vishnu Sahasranama was took its birth with Bhishma, meaning Bhishma recited when he was on the bow arrow bed, he was reciting the Vishnu Sahasranama. So if it has taken birth today and Ratha Saptami was few days back, I felt that was not matching. That is why I was just
Correct.
thinking which is.
Yeah, this is, I have received one WhatsApp message.
Okay.
I can forward that, yes. It's in Kannada, Lata cannot read.
No, I agree with you because I also got a forward like that. But then
Okay. Yeah, then I'll not forward. The thing is, I don't know, that's the reason I'm getting some clarity.
Yeah. No, I was
Because this is all based on some
logical mind
lunar
was-
and solar systems. Highly influenced on human being. I just wanted to know the connection.
Okay, so let's start then. So if we were to go back to the Jagrata Avastha, So we spoke about the 7 limbs. So I think Bhatt had missed it. So we'll again revisit, not because of Bhatt, but because I think by now we would have forgotten also. So there are these 5 elements plus what is coming as a heaven. So that will be the Swarga, then the sun, that is Surya, and the 5 elements, and the fire, that is the Tejas, which comes all the time from the consciousness. So in a macrocosm, the 7 limbs would be the heaven, sun, air, space, water, earth, and that Agni or fire. And in the microcosm level, it is head, eye, prana, trunk and bladder and feet and mouth. This is what the microcosm would be. And the 5 Jnanendriyas, the 5 Karma Indriyas, the 5 Pranas, so 15, plus Manas, 16, Buddhi, 17, Ahankara, 18, Chitta, 19. So these 19 represents what we call as mouth. So what we are trying to say is Jagrata Avastha is only this Sapta Angaha Ekona Vimshati Mukha. So we spoke about all 19 of them. So this waking state is about enjoying the worldly sense object. That's all what it is. There is nothing other than that. So from morning till evening, the person is having the thoughts and doing only this, about using the 5 elements, the 5 senses, and the 5 Karma Indriyas, Jnana Indriyas, 5 Pranas, along with Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara and Chitta, with an impact on going to heaven. And another thing they have added is sun, because that is the starting in all literature, and the fire, which is the Tejas of that Virat Rupa. So this is what is Vaishvanara, which creates a Vishwa. And the second Pada is, it's from external, it comes only to internal, which is Taijasa. And the third Pada we looked at is that the person is now in the deep sleep state, in that Atma or that consciousness which is to be known is there, but is never felt by the mind. Because normally the consciousness is not seen by the mind. It only sees itself. Which is, when we say mind, it is about the Ahankara, Buddhi and Manas. And the Chitta doesn't seem to make its presence, but it is the one which is doing everything. And Chitta itself is consciousness. It has ability to memory, meaning it can bring the experience from wherever, whichever direction it is. So when I were to say I had a past life regression, what it really means is that the Manas, which is the container, was able to be filled with the frames of one of the existence which was there in the Chitta. So the Ahankara then took it as, this is my experience. So Ahankara. Buddhi, which is the intellect, trying to say that yes, it is you in that form or in that life. And the Manas is the container where this picture is being depicted, and the Chitta is the one which is enjoying that. because it brought it up. So that is like a magician, and that's the reason it's called as Maya, because this magician does this Maya. It brings the impressions from the past, wherever that past is. So if we were to say that we went to Pyramid Valley some 2 years back, immediately all the four of us right now can go back to the Pyramid Valley. From the sound I am making as Pyramid Valley, the shape and the experience and everything about the Pyramid Valley is made and it is shown. So this is what the consciousness, which is Ishvara, can do. And he knows everything because he has been there in all the experiences of the world. And he is Antaryami. So he is the controller, or because that is where the Chitta gets established, meaning it's in the heart region. And he is the source of all. So Sat Chit Ananda, in that Chit is the universal consciousness and Chitta is the individual consciousness which has an arising and passing away all the time as an experiencer and experienced. And because the mind, the container called as Manas, loses its touch with this Chitta during deep sleep, it no event get reproduced on the screen. So with that not being there, the sense objects no longer participate with the senses. So with the sense object not being there, there is nothing to sense, and hence a deep peace, tranquility is experienced in deep sleep. Okay, so this is what is the state of consciousness. Then we were speaking about the Turiya point of view. So again, to repeat, the negation phase 1, the experience, what is not, na antar prajnam, na bahi prajnam, na ubayataha prajnam, na prajna ghanam, na prajnam, na aprajnam is the first stage, and second stage is adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyaya padesham, ekatma pratyaya saram. This is the negation phase 2, which is how it is indicated. And the third one is the assertion or the experience, as it is prapancha upashamanam shantam shivam advaitam chaturtham manyate saha atma saha vigneyaha. So this is what is called as Turiya. So we started looking at Turiya few days ago with negation, and we looked into how this experience happens, meaning what is waking state representing the past, present and future. Then there is something called waking state, because the senses require the past, that is, it should feel I exist, then the present, that I am existing, and then I will exist in the future. And the dreaming state is about the making plans and making all ideas, opinions and all that for experiencing in the future. So the dreams, and all our dreams are positive oriented, they are never negatively oriented. So we project whatever we want to enjoy there, and we want to make it possible. That is what is part of the waking state. So we say that based upon the past experience and what is happening right now, the projection is done for the future. So there is always a continuity of past, present and future. If there is no past, there can't be any future at all, and that is reality. Only the present is a reality. There is neither a past nor a future. So if I say I was existing in the past, it is wrong. And if I'm going to say that I'm going to exist in the future, is also wrong, because both are two extremes. And the middle one is the consciousness, and that is missed. So it stitches the past, present, and the future. So when we go to the deep sleep state, this past, present, future is removed. As we are in waking state, and what would be the deep sleep experience is that when we get totally involved in something, including watching a TV or watching a sports or whatever it is, when the person gets totally involved, or even seeing a beautiful scenery or a beautiful mountain or whatever he or she terms as beautiful, there is stoppage of breath, and there is this like wow, or the breath getting stopped for a moment. And that state when the breath stops is Turiya, because neither it has a past, present, future, neither it has deep sleep state where there is ignorance of Ishvara, nor there is anything to dream. The person is totally lost in whatever he or she is doing. But not knowing it is deep sleep, knowing it is Turiya. So what is the experiencer and experienced is about is, first, the dream state has to be removed, which is the internal world, because that is what projects into the external world. Then the conscious external worlds and sense object also has to be removed, because that is what causes the sense pleasures to appear. And with that going away, we spoke about how the waking and dreaming state can be removed. And that denies the state of deep sleep, meaning that denies the state of ignorance that I exist, or the items and other things exist. So there are objects. So every relationship is an object for experiencer. So if I say I have a wife, it is an experiencer from an experiencer point of view. In fact, the wife is a title or a designation, and it has certain roles and responsibilities, but it projects itself as though it is true. Just like we say in the organization, we inform the employee not to take the appraisal very personally, but yet the person takes it personally because it is his appraisal, it is not the role's appraisal. We are calling that person and giving him or her a feedback, and there is no way he can cut out the individuality of him versus the role. He always feels that he is a developer or a tester or a manager or whatever it is, because it is conditioned to him. Similarly, in the home, we do the same thing. Even though there is a daughter or a son or a wife or a husband or whatever combinations they are, or as a mother or father or a friend or neighbor and all that, these are roles. But the ignorance here is that the role is treated as real. So the feedback is given on the real person when there is no person at all. There is only the chitta. There is no person there. But then the person feels that it is for me. So I am the father. So he is talking about me. So even though he is not a father, there's nothing called as father. It's only a role. It's not really father existing in that body. Similarly, the mother or a daughter or a son or whatever. And we conceptualize based upon the size of the person. So if that mind is, or that being is very small, we call it as a toddler. So then we make it as a child, and then we keep on rotating along with that because it becomes easy. So that child always remains as a child in the eyes of the parent. It will never grow because the parent feels that the child can never surpass the parent. So he is always, that parent has to tell the child or that man or woman who has grown up what they should be doing. And hence there are conflicts because it's another mind, it's another entity, it's another karmic, let's call it as karmic soul, which is come to experience on itself. And it's going to experience whatever it has to experience irrespective of what the parents think. So some things would be as what the parents desired it to be, and some things will not be as what the parents desire to be. So then there are conflicts, and there is only unhappiness flowing between the child and the parent. Why this happened is because we go by the size of the body. So we consider the person as the body, not even as a mind. So what we are talking here is to consider everyone as consciousness, which is way beyond what we are talking about, meaning you should experience that. So here is what, but it doesn't say how. That's what I was talking to all of you the other day. So what you will experience is that you will remove the waking state, you will remove the dream state, you will remove the deep sleep state. That is, you will stop recognizing somebody as a tall, somebody as short, somebody as fat, somebody as fair or dark skin, with knowledge, without knowledge, and this and that. Instead, you will start to see how consciousness is appearing in various forms and enjoying this form. So then you will see consciousness everywhere. So the experiencer and experienced in the negation stage 2. So it rejects all objects of Vishwa. So by negating the scene, we are trying to remove the heard, the tasted, the touched and smell, and also all of the 5 are removed. So there is nothing to be seen, meaning I didn't see so and so person. Let's say I want to see Bhatt. First of all, Bhatt doesn't exist for me to see. So even though I talk to Bhatt, there is no person seen. So if there is no seen, I did not hear anything. If I don't see and hear anything, I did not touch anything. If I don't touch anything, then I don't smell anything. If I don't smell anything, then I don't taste anything. So now I only see it as consciousness. And it negates all empirical dealings or interaction. So there is no longer any job titles like father and mother and brother and sister and all of that. We now see everybody is bound to samsara because of they have come to the prison to serve their sentence, is not because that somebody wanted to set a relationship with me. If that works out very well, then the sense organs of action, karma indriyas, no longer torture. So the Vishwa is gone. So all thought objects which are coming in the dream sequence are also removed. That means now we have removed both the Vaishvanara and Taijasa. That is the waking state and dream state, because they are both are same. It is eyes open, dreaming is waking state, eyes closed or lost in something, that is absent-mindedism, is what the dream state is all about. So that removes the power of description, that is designating and describing it. So now let us say when there is a speaker who is supposed to be giving a guest lecture or whatever it is, or we have called somebody like what we do in the organization also, then we read out that person's biodata, what he has done, and what are his achievement and or his or her achievement, and then We also talk about the awards and the laurels and what he has gained and all that. All those are fabrication. Okay, it's like boosting out the ego of the person. So this person, even though he is a spiritual, let's say he is a spiritual person, it doesn't add to his spirituality, because deep under he is still dreaming about what he is being said, and goes to deep sleep of enjoying that whatever is being read out. So one has to negate the power of description, and with that the speech is gone. And then we have to finally negate the self-awareness or ego during deep sleep. That is, I slept like a log. That also has to be removed. So the Turiya state, which is unbroken self-awareness, that is Atma shining within, is seen. How do you know it is seen? And that's what he calls in assertion stage 14 to 19. So the sage is now free from all world phenomena. That is what? Prapancha upashamanam. So there is no prapancha. Prapancha is created by 5 senses and the sense object. Both are not interacting anymore. So there is no wife and husband and daughter and son and India and America or Europe or job or whatever it is. You are just doing it because you are alive. Otherwise, you don't have to do anything. So that is the first experience, or a not as an experience. So the person, he becomes devoid of experience, not really experiences it. He or she will not have anything to experience, because that is what Vishwa is. He is tranquil and peaceful. So is Shantam. Because this attribute is belonging to Taijasa. There is no longer Taijasa. There is nothing to dream. So it's like, one second. And he is auspicious, divine and beneficent, which is Shivam. So once you experience Satchidananda, you will immediately see the Swarupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. So you can see tranquility within yourself. And he is in non-dual state, Advaitam. Now you have reached Advaita from duality, because there is no world of senses and sense object. The senses remain, but they are not going outward, they are inward. So with that, one minute, somebody is messaging me, I'll just reply to him. Okay. And then Chaturtham Manyate, this is what Turiya is, and he is in pure bliss. He has understood the Atma, which is the Chit. From Chitta, this person is understood what is Chit. And that is what is concluding verse of this before we go to explaining Om. Any questions here?
I am fine.
Okay. How about Lata and Padmashri?
I am also fine.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Fine, very good. So everybody has understood.
So you
I
don't.
think I think it is not it is not
You
understood.
may convince.
It is what you are receiving, what you are sending, we have received. Understanding and then reproducing is different.
Processing.
To some extent. Yeah.
Manana is needed, Vilas. We have done the Shravana now from
Yes.
you.
Yes. So what we need to do is, without a break, you have to do it. Then it works.
Yeah, correct. That is the problem for me. I'm not. Yeah. So,
So how do you do it? You tell me. Otherwise, this again becomes another theoretical enjoyment.
spiritual entertainment.
Yeah, spiritual entertainment. Because what we need to see is like this. One, we should see continuance to discontinuance. That means what we are seeing is continuity. You have to see discontinuity, disjoint. Everything is disjoint. Nothing is one minute. So one thing is that we need to have this observation of disjoint. The moment you see disjoint, you can see the dukkha coming out. At present, we are making it sukha. So you will really see that the dreaming state is completely dukkha. Okay, so this is the how. So once you see this dukkha, you will also understand what is the deep sleep state or the ignorance state is all about, because there is no person there. No matter how much I do something, or how much I love something, or how much subjectivity I know, how much objectivity I want to create, it doesn't work out. And then he will see that he doesn't have any control. That is, he in the sense that the mind plus the buddhi plus ahankara and the chitta, which is creating the experience, all the four don't have any control. It's the chitta which has everything. So he starts to experience the chitta, and that is what exists all the time. And chitta is part of the chit, and it has the ananda, but it's a very limited ananda. Now, since he has dropped it, he can see the complete ananda, because the ananda is the part of nature itself, of the chit. That's the nature. And chitta is also ananda, but limited. So that is what one needs to see. Meaning, again, discontinuation in everything. Once you see the dreaming is only projection of the consciousness, there is nothing called as dreaming, then you can see the dukkha, the suffering we undergo to make that dream come true. Not that you should not be working. No. You know that you have to take so much of effort to have a little bit of fun. Meaning, let's say I want to eat something. Let's say I want to have a good dessert, or prepare an ice cream. I have to do so much of effort to make the ice cream. So without buying items, I cannot make it, and it should be available. It should be in a proper condition. Then I should know how to do it. If I don't know how to do it, I have to learn, or I have to do by going online on YouTube, see how this ice cream can be prepared, and then try it out. And after that, put all the ingredients, then wish that it works or it is good, then that wishing is already, we are in the Taijasa. So we dream that it is a very good product in the end. So now I put it in my mouth, I really taste it, then that taste is gone. Hardly stayed for a second. Not even a second. The effort I have taken to put this 1 second thing, it's nowhere, comprehensible. So this is what we have to see it in everything, from eating to sleeping to sitting to walking to climbing stairs to do yogasana and seeing and hearing and touching and all of that. Then you reach Turiya. This is the practice. And now he explains this through Om. A representing Vaishvanara, U representing Taijasa, M representing Prajna, silence representing Turiya. There are no senses and sense object. But this has to be done all the time, including sleeping, for consistent amount of days. Then you will see, like what Lata said, that this is one thing I am not able to do. So if you are not able to do, then it will not work out. Then the Shruti, what we are reading, we can understand it ourselves. Meaning to say that you don't even require the interpreter called as Vilas, because you would be experiencing it yourself. So let me know how I can help you with this Turiya, which is in 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Now Prajnam.
So what you just explained about Ma,
Yeah.
that is fully visible in Turiya Sthiti, right?
Yes. It is complete.
So after Om, you have a gap, then again you have another Om, or it's a continuous Om.
No, it is not like that. It is silence.
Mm-hmm.
Silence representing the mental silence. There is nothing to experience. That is what it is. It says Amatra Chaturtaha Avyavaharayah Prapancha Upashamanaha Shivaha Advaitaha Evam Onkaraha Atma Eva Samvishati Atmanam Yaha Evam Veda. That's what it says. So the amatra is, you can't put it in part. So if you were to ask me that whether it is continuous, but here there is no word to experience that. And if you say that is there any sound coming out of it, it says avyavaharaha. It is beyond conventional way of seeing things, hearing, touching, tasting and smelling. Prapancha upashamanaha. There is no world at all of phenomena. There is nothing which is arising and nothing which is passing away. Shivaha. It's always blissful. Advaitaha. Non-dual. Evam Onkaraha Atma Eva. This is the chitta which is there in the heart of all beings as Atma, which stays till its end of journey. Sam vishati atmana atmanam. The self realizes itself through the self. That is, the chitta recognizes itself through itself from the reflection it is getting from chit, which is nothing but the Brahman and Atma or Atman. Yaha eva Veda. He who knows thus has understood the Veda. So it is mental silence. What it means is that you don't identify anything at all. That's the whole idea. If there is identification, there is movement. If there is movement, then there is this continuance of past, present, future. Then there is dream, and then there is ignorance. So, example, I have to go to office is a conventional. Okay. So the moment I have this conventional, it's vyavahara. Now, as a Turiya person, what I would do? I would not register this office at all. It's just I need to go. There is no expectation created. The moment I create an office, there is an expectation created. So it doesn't mean that I don't deal with the samsara or the world. I deal with it, but I don't internalize it. There is no internal feeling of an office. There is only the designation which has been given called as office, because there is only designation given as vilas. So there is nothing to really call as vilas. So if there is nothing to be called as vilas, only conventionally for people's benefit, there is a name called vilas. Internally, there is no vilas. So that is the Turiya state of Om, silence. So now if I go with that, then the transactions are not at all there. I just talking because I have to talk. The what is talking is only the sound coming, and then the nature of the sound is to vibrate. So there will be some vibration because of space. So I know that I'm not doing anything. And the other person speaks. I know the intellect is able to reproduce the meanings of it. It's not that I am doing anything about it. Because I exist, the intellect exists. It's not intellect exists because I don't exist. So now I have seen the I, that I which exists in everything. So I just still use I as a naming convention or as a description of language, not really inside as I. So like that I will deal. So that is complete silence, even though this person is interacting with everyone. Would that make sense, or it is confusing?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So everything starts with the I thought only, right? So if that is gone, then everything will fall immediately silent.
Yes, so that is why it is called Turiya, this silence.
Yeah.
So in the Upanishad way, if we were to put it, the fourth quarter, that is this Turiya, runs through the first three quarters, which is A, U, Ma. So that silence is always there within these three. So the moment you stop one of them, A or U or Ma, you will get only silence. That's what it means.
Why is this R related to waking world? And it's because of first letter, or
Yeah, this is the first letter. See, how does the child come out? Have you ever observed? That's a good question, actually. When the
it
child,
comes out, crying comes out.
that sound of starts the moment it comes out.
Yes.
So that is what waking is all about. So akara, ukara, makara. And there is this meaning of u in terms of when you go into a silence of thinking, meaning you are lost within yourself. So that is u, but I have not understood about as clearly as I understood in any child in any country having any language will still say and come, but I am not too sure about that ukara. Kara is what is said, and makara, why this was used for u and I don't know. That only thing I have understood about is that it will touch the vibration from the Nabhi chakra to your Agnya chakra. When you do, try it out. You can see the fun. Starts from your navel, and you can feel it in your Agnya chakra. But I have not really understood about who.
So maybe this om creates that vibration.
No, all the three will create vibration, Lata. Also creates vibration when the child is crying, so that vibration is there. That does not touch the palate. Whereas ooh, if you say ooh, you will see that it starts touching the palate, the top of your tongue. The base of your tongue with the top of the tongue will touch. Ooh, if you do that, and ma will has a beautiful experience from your navel portion to the Agnya chakra.
This A comes from Napi, right? And U from Mahat and in that Sahasrara.
See, Vaishwanara, Taijasa, Prajna, they normally talk Vaishwanara starting from the navel. Okay, that is U coming from the heart, which is the Anahata chakra, and Vishuddhi chakra is Ma, silence is Agnya. That is how it is depicted. Okay, at the Agnya chakra itself, they will make it as silence. In some texts, you can see that it starts with heart. So that is U is the throat, and Ma is the prajna, which is the Agnya chakra, and Sahasrara is silence. So some texts talk about in this way, some texts talk about in this way. So I'm not too sure on that depiction.
But if you see this, all these three syllables are very universally. When you start with the child's cry for even who and ma are some things which we use irrespective of any country, any language, any
Correct.
culture, etc.
I agree.
So all three are very universal, meaning not like a ra or a la, like a la or anything like that, because those things are very different. Meaning, you as a child, you don't even start with all those things.
Correct. Very true. So the basic thing what I have understood through my experience is that yes, it is very right that in all religions, all traditions across humanity, ma is there, but the most obvious you'll find is in the child. As soon as it comes out with U and ma are slightly subtle, but it has different connotation from the textual point of view. So only the ma I could experience it starting from the navel to Ajna, whereas I could not experience U at all. So it will be a wrong thing for me to say that I have experienced the U. But irrespective of that, removing Nama and Rupa, I am able to experience that Turiya state. That I can confidently say. So how you can create a strategy for this, you have to come out with your own way of doing it. Yeah, Lata.
Yeah, but also for when people are in pain, no, what's the sound they produce? Something like that, that kind of a sound, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So
No, that will have U and Actually, if you see a person who is in pain, so he'll make both the sound. He'll not only make as a sound.
correct.
That also I've observed. I'm not saying that I've not observed, but I'm not able to exactly pinpoint how it starts. Just like I'm very confident of in whichever tradition it is.
Yeah, that is true. So whenever any child comes crying, it starts with A only.
Yes.
And similarly, anywhere across the world, wherever somebody is in pain, they make the same kind of sounds.
They make the sound, not ma sound.
Yes.
In fact, for a child also, if you really notice a child which starts with A, but very next syllable it understands this woo only. And then ma. The woo and ma, I don't know which is first, which is second, but you can find that.
Yeah, you can find out.
After A, these are the two syllables it starts also. Meaning it's easier to come for it.
True. I don't deny, Padmashri. I again reiterate what I said. It is not very obvious like but it doesn't mean that all the three are not there at all. But if
I'm saying is they take precedence over all the other syllables.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just saying that they take, so that is why I think they have become very important and they formed the letter O, but the sound O. It formed the sound O, but it is not. It is very. If you observe a child also, it doesn't start with any other syllables after A. It is one of these only, ma or U.
Yes, absolutely right. Yeah, I fully agree on that. It won't be any other except for U, ma. Very true. Because after it starts crying, when it goes to the extreme of crying, it will say ooh, that ooh will be there, and after it is getting consoled, it will be saying that sound is there. I fully agree. So in the cry you can see all the three.
Vilas, I have to join another meeting. Suddenly realized.
Yeah, it is already 9:31. Okay, we will catch up tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.